So as I began to work on myself, I realized that I'm getting out of one story and stepping into another story. As I become aware of some things, there's still some things I'm not aware of. So I'm still growing, I'm still developing. I'm like the lady who said, Lord, I ain't what I want to be, ain't what I'm going to be, but thank God I sure ain't what I was. But I realize that you have to work on yourself on a regular basis, and write this down, for mental mindset. For mental mindset and stamina. Because things are going to happen to you. So put things in perspective. Here's something else Tommy said that I think is important. He said that the voice also said to him, if you change your ways, I'll give you far more than you ever lost. Look at your life right now. If you want to keep on getting what you're getting, keep on doing what you're doing. You've got to be willing to change your ways. Your life is working. If you don't like what you have produced, you're a director, you are the star, you wrote this script. You produced this, whatever it is. If it's a hit, you produced it. If it's a flop, you produced it. Take ownership of it and decide to go back to the drawing board and rewrite the script that you are the star of. You have the power to do that. On this day, you can declare, I'm going to change. As you look back on your life, you can decide that I don't like what I produced here, and I want higher ground. I want to begin to experience more love. I want to have more adventure in my life. I want something that gives my life a sense of meaning. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been selected to head up a program called Project Life in Chicago, training thousands of kids. And I had the experience, we had our second session this past Monday. He said, but imagine if you will lean on your deathbed, standing around your bed, the ghosts of the ideas, the dreams, the abilities, the talents given to you by life, and you, for whatever reason, you never acted on those ideas. You never pursued that dream. You never used those talents. You never saw your leadership. You never used your voice. You never wrote that book. And there they are standing around your bed, looking at you with large, angry eyes, saying, we came to you. And only you could have given us life. Now, we must die with you forever.
If you constantly remind yourself, after every defeat, after every setback, every time you get knocked down, I've got a saying, if life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. See, a lot of people, because of failure, they stop believing. Let me share something with you. You will fail your way to success. Yes. 8 out of 10 millionaires have been financially bankrupt. You will fail your way to success. It doesn't matter how many times you fail. It doesn't matter how many times people tell you that you can't do it. It doesn't matter if you don't have a dime in the bank. You will fail your way to success. What's very important is you're believing in yourself. You're constantly saying, somehow, some way, I'm going to make it. I remember a lady out of Detroit, Michigan. They called her Martha Jean the Queen. And she had a motivational message she gave all the time on the radio. And the question she would ask was, do you really want to win?
It takes time and dedication. It takes a willingness to accept that you're not yet good enough. It takes the ability to stare at the places that you know that you're weak, to really look at those things and not let it affect your sense of self-esteem and not let it affect your sense of self-worth, so that you can still get the momentum going. But you have to understand that in the beginning, we're all terrible. And as Henri Cartier-Bresson said, your first 10,000 photographs are your worst.
It's the time when you're feeling like you're scraping the bottom of the barrel. You're in the dark, but it's up to you to change your perception, to shed some light on where you are. It's the time when you're ready to give up. But you know if you do, you'll never be able to live with yourself with the guilt and shame of not pulling yourself out of this state.
Become your biggest support system. You can't keep allowing the lack of support from others to discourage you to the point where you don't take action and you end up giving up on your dreams.
Overnight success is a fantasy, but real success is within your reach, no matter who you are, no matter where you are at in your life right now.
If you were pursuing a career that would be appropriate for you and sustaining for you, what would that look like? How are you going to educate yourself? How are you going to take care of yourself mentally and physically? What do you want for an intimate relationship? And how are you going to handle temptations like alcohol and drug abuse, because they take people down frequently. So all you have to do is think about, okay, what could that be like if you had what you needed? Not some wild fantasy, but realistic in what you needed. So that's the first part. And then, okay, now write for 20 minutes about what your life would be like 3 to 5 years down the road if all this came true. And then now do the opposite. So imagine all your weaknesses and all the ways that you can go down the wrong path. And then imagine that gets the upper hand. Then imagine where you are in 3 to 5 years. So then you get a polarity, eh? It's like, not this, and yes, this. So you can run away from the things you don't want, and you can run towards the things you do want. That gets your anxiety behind you instead of in front of you, right? Because maybe you're gonna go do something difficult and you're afraid of it. And then you think, well, if I don't do this, I'm gonna end up there. It's like, oh, okay, that's so terrible that this little terrible is nothing.
Here's the deal. You want to know why most people can never get anywhere in life? Why most people never live, never experience, never build, never do anything worthwhile in life besides being average and let me know, an average broke. You know why? Because most people's egos are so inflated and so fragile that they won't allow people to see them be bad at something. Okay? Let that sink in. You've never done something before. You expect yourself to be awesome at it. You haven't done the work. You haven't put in the time. You haven't put in the study hours. You haven't had the experience, but you expect to be good. And because you expect to be good, but you know you're not going to be good, you don't do anything. Explain that to me, okay? You want to be somebody who succeeds. You want to be somebody who builds something. You want to be somebody who people write books about one day. You are going to have to be okay with being bad at for a long time. When I first started in business, I didn't even know what the I was selling. Okay, I remember the first person coming in. They came in for a product that it was called Cell Tech by a company called Muscle Tech. They came in, the dude obviously didn't buy it. It wasn't our first sale. He came in and asked me about it. I didn't even know what the it was, okay? But I didn't care because I was gonna figure it out, all right? And that's the mentality you guys have to have. You have to be okay with looking like an idiot for a long time. And a lot of you guys, you'd rather be too cool for school. You'd rather be the cool kids at the high school lunch table than be the person who actually goes out, takes a leap of faith, decides they're gonna try something new, and actually becomes an expert at it over time. Guys, you have to be okay not being good at all right? Every valuable lesson that you're gonna come across in your life is going to come from you something up, AKA failing, all right? And I hate failing as much as the next guy. Dude, I probably hold the record for the most broken Nintendo controllers on the face of the earth because I hate losing. And if I ever find the person that wrote Zelda, they're gonna get a knuckle sandwich because I can never beat that game. But that's the point, okay? I hate to lose. But the thing is that once you understand that every time you lose is an opportunity for you to not only learn that lesson, but take it a +1 step. Okay, listen to what I just said. A +1 step past the lesson, you'll start to appreciate those lessons. You'll start to be okay with not being good at shit. Guys, you don't want to be the guy that we talk about on the podcast who's 37 years old, living in mom's basement, yelling at her for a hot pocket, okay? You trolling people on the internet. You don't want to be that guy. And if you don't want to be that guy, you're going to have to understand that losing is a part of ultimately winning. You're going to lose a lot more than you win. And when you win, you're going to figure out how to get better on top of it. If you're a true winner, You know, they don't celebrate their wins. True winners take the win and they say, how could I have even gotten better? How could I have ran the score up? How could I have won by twice as many points? So you never really feel like you win. And you have to be okay with that. Okay? There's not one thing that I don't look at in my life and say, man, how could I get better at that? How could I win at that? How could I run the score up on that? That's how much I love to win. But I look at every single loss. I've learned to look at every single loss as an opportunity of how to win more. And that's what you need to do too. You don't look at it like, hey, everybody's going to point and laugh. And they might point and laugh. I could tell you a list a mile long of people who have told me, Andy, you still got that little vitamin shop? Andy, what are you trying to be? Tony Robbins? Andy, when are you going to get a real job? Those are the same asking me for jobs now. All right? You guys have to understand that if you are willing to be bad at you will have the last laugh on these same people that we're talking about.